to Morning Trade Live. It's time now to go inside out on Constellation Energy and the rest of the group hoping to power the AI boom. Joining us now is Ivana Delevska, who is the founder and CIO of Spear Investments. Thank you so much for joining us. And you're covering basically everything right now, as we were laughing offline, that's hot in the market. I mean, cybersecurity and also nuclear, what's going to power all this AI boom. So let's start with Constellation Energy. How are you looking at that name right now?
Well, Sam, to step back, we believe that we're going through a new wave of AI investments. The first wave with NVIDIA Hopper infrastructure was going into existing data centers. The new wave requires brand new data centers. And with that comes incremental power generation capacity. With that comes incremental infrastructure and networking equipment. So we're really looking to capitalize on that trend. And this is where Constellation fits very well in the portfolio. They're the leader on the nuclear side. They operate the largest nuclear fleet in the United States.
And obviously it's got a tailwind from these big corporates as far as, you know, the tie-ups and partnerships it's got with some of the names out of Silicon Valley. I mean, no doubt that helps.
That's right. So we believe on the quarterly call, the management indicated that they expect 2 more deals to be announced into year end. We've already seen the announcements from the companies themselves that are building. So we are looking forward to these power agreements being announced as we get into the fourth quarter. So that's really the catalyst here for the stock that we expect will play out in the next 3 to 6 months.
Okay, so you believe that there is room for more upside there for Constellation Energy. And no doubt this is, you know, an entire ecosystem. I mean, obviously you've got the hyperscalers, then you've got the infrastructure that's needed and also the energy providers to supply the power, but then they need parts as well. So where else are you looking along this sort of supply chain here?
So we really like networking as well. In addition to power gen, the networking is where a lot of the performance improvement is going to come from. So this is why these companies are very important for the next wave of AI investments. Companies like Credo, Astera Labs, Arista Networks would be some of the leaders in that space, but we see upside for NVIDIA as well. They're a new entrant in that space with their Mellanox acquisition in 2000. Now they may have the largest networking business under their belt, given the significant investment. So I would say, if I look broadly, networking, power gen, and lastly cybersecurity would be the top areas right now that not only generate upside but also good risk reward, because something that we're really focused on is try to find upside but also not very high, that comes not at very high risk.
Right, okay, and look, cybersecurity has always so been a very popular sort of theme to play right now because of the fact that we have the AI demand, which is creating more risk, certainly for enterprises, and it's there in the IT budgets as far as the commitments are. I mean, it's not negotiable or optional now to have cybersecurity. So, I mean, it's understandable. Tell us about some of the names that you're looking at right now. I see you've got Rubrik, ZScaler, CrowdStrike on your radar.
Yep. So in the cybersecurity space, Sam, these companies are benefiting from AI in 2 ways. One, they are going to be securing a lot of these applications, but on the other hand, they're also using AI internally to come up with cybersecurity AI agents. So this is how they're enabling basically better and more efficient cybersecurity defenses. So companies like CrowdStrike will really benefit from the second part, where they're coming up with cybersecurity AI agents. Companies like ZScaler will benefit on the securing the new applications coming to market. Then we also like Rubrik. They are a recent IPO. The stock has stalled out a little bit here, but they're a core play on the data side, which I think is going to be critical. How you process data and how you narrow down data is going to be really critical for the cybersecurity space development going forward.
Okay, so this is a real investment theme. I mean, I heard a quote the other day: for every dollar that's spent on AI, you need the infrastructure, you need the ecosystem, and that could amount to $3-4. So if you perhaps missed out on the NVIDIAs of the world, or you're struggling to pick the winners or losers as far as some of the hyperscalers are concerned, you go picks and shovels, look at energy, look at other parts. Is that sort of you're getting at as far as the spectrum of companies that you look at right now in this AI trade?
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. So we try to spot investments before they become mainstream. So we were very early on the NVIDIA side. We were very early on the AI, the first wave of infrastructure. We think in the second wave, especially given how big the CapEx numbers are getting, it's very important to focus on the risk side as well. So if you look at the networking companies, for example, they're not investing billions of dollars. They're investing incremental R&D dollars and getting very good returns. So we see very little risk there. Similarly, in the cybersecurity space, these companies are not spending $100, $200 billion to come up with a new product. They can come up with new products pretty inexpensively. So the returns that they're getting are going to be pretty significant.
And the demand is there. And obviously, with the whole AI trade, it's been important for some of these companies to also align themselves with US policy, which no doubt has offered a bit of a tailwind. Ivana, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today. That is Ivana Delevska, who is the founder and CEO of Spear Invest. Appreciate your time. Let's trade it now with Tom White, host of Fast Market. And you heard what Ivana had to say there, Tom. I mean, she believes that there is some more upside for Constellation Energy. How are you looking at this one as far as an example trade?
Yeah, maybe a little bit more cautious, but you can still take a bullish stance and be passive as far as the strategies you're using. I mean, the option market's perfect for a name like CEG. That's such a high-priced stock. So I looked at something a little bit more passive. It's neutral to bullish in stance, and also it's short-term, right? I'm going out to the October 17th monthly option, so 16 days to expiration. We're going to sell an out-of-the-money 320 strike put. And then against it, because this is a high-priced stock and it's got a high beta, it moves quite a bit. I want to protect that and make it risk-defined. We're going to buy the 310 strike put. So a short $10 wide, neutral to bullish put vertical. We're going to collect roughly about a 270 credit, maybe a little bit less than that right now. The stock has moved higher. But that credit you collect is what you can make. So if you collect 270, you can make $270 per spread. Now, you've got some risk on that, about $730 on that, but that's all the way below 310. Takes your break even down to 317.30 over the next 2.5 weeks. That's about 5% below the current share price in CEG, and you have a higher probability of success. That's why you've got more risk than you do reward, because you've got a probability of nearly 70% that short 320 strike is going to be out of the money at expiration, which is what you want. You want this to go out worthless and the stock to remain above 320.
Okay, and another name in this space, which Ivana highlighted, is GE Vernova. You've got an example trade that looks bullish for this one. Talk us through it.
Yeah, short term again in this one, but maybe a little bit more aggressive on that pullback. It did get downgraded today, but it still outperformed. It's up over 80%. So far this year. So I looked at an unbalanced or broken wing call butterfly where I can offset some of my risks on a bullish type of trade. Going out to October 17th, 16 days to expiration. We're going to buy one of the slightly in the money 600 strike calls. Then we're going to sell two of the 620 strike calls and then wrap it all up and buy one of the 625 strike calls. So in essence, this strategy, you're buying a bullish $20 wide call vertical, offsetting some of the costs by selling a $5 wide call vertical with that same common strike at the 620 where you sold two options on it. You're going to pay roughly about a $7 debit. So that's your risk, $700 per spread. It takes your break even up to 607 over the next 2.5 weeks. That's less than 1% above the current share price in GE Verona. So that's the way that you look at this. You can offset some of the costs. You can still take that bullish stance, limit some of your risks on this one. But you have the potential to make $1,300 if it goes and settles around 620. But anything above that break even of 607 is going to be profitability on this trade.
Okay, Tom White, a good look at Constellation Energy and also GE Vernova there, an example trade for both of those. Really appreciate your time today.